Hello, everybody. We hope we're back and working. YouTube decided to cut us off for a moment for Caroline sharing her own work there. If you can just give us a comment and let us know that you can still see us and hopefully hear us, that would be great. Give you a few seconds for us to catch up. See if we've lost, how many people we've lost. People have said that they're enjoying it, which is great to hear.
Oh, that's good. That must be my mother.
No, actually, there's people coming, coming and saying. Of all the things we could have prepared for, I don't quite think this would be one of them, Caroline. Do you?
I don't think so, because I had no idea I couldn't use my own.
No, it shouldn't have.
Use my own work. I just got a text saying, enjoying watching you, waiting for it to come back online.
We will get there.
That's from Amanda.
Oh, good. Well, hopefully we're live and we're streaming. We just need someone to tell us, can they actually see us or not?
I'm sending her a text. They just wrote, let me know when we're live, as we can't tell. Come on, Amanda, get us live. Okay, I will keep clicking on it, she says. Good to have someone in the trenches for us.
Well, this is it. This is why I have everyone poised. Yo, we're back. I'm told we are back live.
Yay! Really?
I'm not sure where we are. I'm not sure who's watching, but hello, everybody.
Hello.
Oh, we're glad we're having great fun here.
I'm now afraid to show any of my own pictures.
Well, just carry on talking about. Give everyone a moment just to catch up. Hopefully, people are coming back. Oh, we got people back. People are coming to watch. Marvelous. Okay, so we're going to now try and not share any pictures.
Yes.
Okay.
You know what I will do is I'll do like hand puppets.
Hand puppets, okay.
Instead of pictures.
Let's do that and see what happens.
Hopefully my hands aren't copyrighted by anyone.
Hopefully not. Okay, Caroline, so where were we? On Island West. You were just telling us a bit about the background to the project and the Louis Theroux documentary.
Oh yeah, don't say that name. That might be what was copyrighted. Okay, so yeah, so anyway, basically it got me thinking about whether people who grow up in these circumstances where their parents have told them what to believe and it's not something that people should be believing, whether they have a hope of becoming their own people when the outside world finally presents itself to them. And I really wanted to explore that for a long time. So I spent a few years thinking about the best way to do that. And so I created the world of Island West to explore that in. And then it just sort of, I started writing, and it was about this young woman and her younger sister who were singers in a closed community of xenophobes, and what happens when the outside world presents itself. And as I wrote, and as the script developed more and more, people would say, oh my God, this is so prescient. Oh my God, this is happening now. How did you know this was going to happen? Because I sort of finished the first draft like about a month before Trump and Brexit, right? And everyone was like, wow, how did that? So that was kind of cool. And then we just sort of been developing it from there. And the intent was to shoot it in Cornwall. Had a little bit of trouble raising money for that, blah, blah, blah. Same old indie filmmaker story. But then then an interesting thing happened in November, which is that Directors UK and RE Cameras sponsor this contest called the Alexa Challenge. And it's pretty great because if they choose your project, then they give you this fabulous camera package to go shoot with. And it's for short films, it's not for features. And I was sitting there one day and I was thinking, you know, I should apply for that because who knows? And then I thought, well, what should I write? Oh, I should write something about the world of Island West because I know that world intimately. I know these characters intimately, and it's a really interesting world, and it would really benefit from this incredible camera. And for you people who don't know what this camera is, it's the one they shot 1917 on that just allows you to, well, it's large format for one thing, but it's tiny, so you can get it into all kinds of interesting places. And you can move with it, and it's so energetic and alive, the things that you can get with it. So anyway, and that's really suited to the world of Island West. So I wrote this script, and it's a short film, and it's has the same characters and set in the same place, and it's sort of a vignette of Island West, but it's its own story too, because, you know, the other thing that's interesting is when they have this contest every year, they have a theme, and the theme this year was freedom. And there could be just no better theme for what I was trying to say, because it's about freedom from who you're raised to be. And it's also about, for one of the characters, freedom from racism and just all kinds of things like that. So I banged out that script, and you know, and then I applied, and I didn't think about it again. And then I won it, and nobody was more surprised than me, honestly, because, you know, anyway. And so I thought, great, I've got the best camera package in the world, but no money. What to do? So luckily, there were some really amazing filmmakers with a lot of talent and experience who were quite excited about the script that I'd written and quite excited to work with this camera. And so they came on board, and, you know, half of them were from Cornwall and half of them were from London. And my DOP is this fabulous woman from Devon, so part way, you know, and called Mary Farbrother. She's amazing. And everyone just, I don't know, everyone just came on board. And people in Cornwall, as I suspected, helped out enormously. As you know, Cornwall Film Festival helped out, and Screen Cornwall helped out, but little, like, businesses, the Gurnard's Head Hotel / pub, you know, came and gave us lunch one day, and they were so good to us. And Atlantic Brewery gave us a sponsorship, and the Southwest Coast Path Trail, I always forget if it's trail or path, but anyway, they've sponsored us. And oh God, the Wheel Martin Museum let us in with our cameras, and there's an estate near Tregony that I don't know if they want me to say their name, so I'm not going to, but they went above and beyond with what they did for us. We shot a good chunk of the film there, and we base camped there, and they accommodated us, and they were just amazing. So we were able to go to Cornwall and shoot the film. So we shot it March 14th and 15th. And you may be saying to yourself, what's significant about those days? Well, I'll tell you what it is. It's like March 14th is the day the UK film industry shut down because of coronavirus. So luckily for us, we picked up the camera. Well, we picked up the camera on the 12th in the afternoon, and we got the hell out of Dodge as quick as we could. So we just drove straight down to Cornwall, And like you could almost hear the barricades going up behind you as you drove down the highway, all the doors slamming. And so we started, our first day of shooting was Friday the 13th. And I like to say my oldest son was born on a Friday the 13th, so it's a good day for me. And it actually was a good day. We were amazed at what we got on that day. And it was really interesting shooting in Cornwall because it's so beautiful. I want to live there. I mean it. There's so many different looks that you can get there. The light, of course, is incredible. But also there's just this sense that you're in another place, and which is what I wanted for Island West, because Island West is another place, you know. And it was especially good for us at that time because the whole world was going to hell outside the bubble that we were in, but we were in a bubble, and it was lovely. And I know that we were the last guys out before Ari stopped letting the camera go out. So we really had a sense that it's now or never, and we better do right by this film. And I remember I called the whole crew together when we found out they weren't letting the camera out anymore and that things were shutting down. And I asked everyone if they were okay with staying on, and if anyone wanted to go home, then they should go home. And you know, and everybody said, why would we want to go? Like, we're in Cornwall, man. We're staying as long as we can. We're making a film that we care about and that we think might make a difference when all this is over, when we come out on the other end. And so then we talked about washing your hands and not touching your face and no hugs and all of that. And we carried on. And I think everybody was so glad that we did that. And as we shot, I made some adjustments to the script, which I'm still kind of doing now, actually, even in post, because I wanted to incorporate the virus because it was happening, and because the story of Island West is the story of a place that isolates itself out of fear, but then it doesn't come out of isolation. It chooses to stay that way. And that's the story of the feature and the short. And I thought, man, this is so relevant. What could be more relevant? And even since I've come back here and the editor's got it, and she's putting together the assembly right now, I keep hearing what we're all hearing, which is the earth is resetting itself. And this is happening because, you know, we all needed to stop and take a breath and look and discover what we can do, right? Look at what we can do. We can put homeless people into shelter, and we can work from home, and we can be kind to each other. And oh, look, we can support our NHS. We're discovering all these things. And now there's people trying to make sense of this crisis that we're living in, are saying, well, the crisis is happening so that we could discover all these things, and so that we can change the world, and we can make it better, and we can now we're on a new path. So here we go, people, right? And so what I think as a filmmaker and a studier of the human condition is that they may be right, and I hope to God they are, because that's the way I think also. But what if it goes the other way, right? Because another thing could happen also, which is that we forget all the promises we made as soon as the crisis is over. And instead of going down that new path that we all know right now we should be going down, we not only revert to the old ways, but we get even worse, because there's going to be some people who are looking for someone to blame. And you can bet it won't be the people they should be blaming. You can bet it will be someone who doesn't look like them. And you can bet that there will be more xenophobia as a result. And so that's one way it can go. And so this film has now become a film about a cautionary tale about what happens if we go that way. So it was always a film about a community that self-isolates because of fear of the other. But now the fear of the other is that the other brings the virus, right? And so it's just become, it was important to me before, but now it's like, this is why I became a filmmaker. This is it. This is why I tell stories. I hope to give people a vision that maybe they should be looking at and thinking about. And I hope to help people remember the promises that we're all making right now when the crisis doesn't feel so urgent.
I've got a question actually relating to that. Do you think the current crisis is going to have an impact with how the film is received when it does come out?
Yeah, of course I do. I mean, this film is literally about the current crisis. And this is probably the only film that hasn't been written just to take advantage of the current crisis, if you know what I mean. Like, I saw human nature. I saw this coming because I watched the way people are. I'm not saying I saw the virus coming. I'm just saying I saw the way people can go out of fear and how they can let fear steamroll into hate, right? So yes, I think it will, absolutely. I think people will definitely pay attention to this film.
And of course, the short is part of your grander scheme.
Yes.
Can you tell us a bit more about the grander scheme?
Yes. So the grander scheme is called Island West. I didn't get that inventive with the titles. So Island West it all takes place again. It's the same world, it's the same characters plus a whole bunch more and a whole bunch more subplot. Without giving away too much, because I kind of drip feed the menace and the mystery in the feature, but I can tell you that it's about a community that has isolated itself because it has allowed fear to turn into hate and xenophobia. It's about a young woman and her sister who've grown up in that environment and who know nothing else. It's about a young Aboriginal man who comes from Canada, and he is the stranger who brings the outside world. And it's about secrets and lies and a terrorist group that's operating on the island. And a thing that they do, they do have people of color on the island who were there before, and they detain them, and they're basically indentured, not indentured, they're forced labor, pardon me, they're forced labor. And if they step out of line, they put them in a boat and push them out to sea. Only out to sea, they've put mines that explode in the water. So when they put them in a boat, they're doing it so they'll die, but they just call it deportation. And if that rings any bells with anyone, good, because it should. So that's the story of Island West, and I am currently rewriting that script as well, just a revision again to incorporate the virus, because it's all coming true, and I want to make sure that all of the things that are teed up to turn our fear into hate are being addressed in the feature as they are in the short. I think that's really important. So that script has come a long way, and we were chosen to present it at this thing at the Berlinale this year, which was like the last big film festival to happen before the world shut down, and we got a really nice response there. So that's cool. And, you know, the plan is to shoot it, well, it was to shoot it this spring, but the plan is now to shoot it in the fall. And, you know, and we have a wonderful actress who's also, you know, the four actors in the short are also in the feature. A couple of them are playing different roles, but the lead is a girl whose family, she spends like half her time in Cornwall. So, and her family's, they're wonderful people, and she's an incredible actress. She's her name's Tallulah Evans, and you can see her on the upcoming Netflix series White Lines, which premieres in May. So I hope I was allowed to say White Lines. We haven't been shut down.
If we get cut off, we'll see what happens.
Anyway, so yeah, so Island West it's come pretty far, and now and it's about to go even further. So yeah.
Well, that's, you know, that is great. You know, great to hear, and great that you came to Cornwall to film that as well. And using local people as well to help out with that.
Yes, yeah. You know, I have to say, I was super impressed with the talent in Cornwall, the talent of the crew. I know I've said this to you already, Henry, but like, honestly, just, I had no idea, you know? I mean, I'm not saying like, I thought they were good or bad. I just had no idea. I had no idea that people would be like my crew really allowed me to make a film that I think is outstanding, because I have to say, man, the rushes are gorgeous. The drone footage is really unique. It's not the same old drone footage that you always see. It's stunning. Everything we caught on the camera is stunning. The art direction is amazing. Like everything. I had a wonderful crew. So, and you cannot do this without a wonderful crew, as you know.
No, they're very important to the whole thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Great. Well, I've got some questions for you now that have come in thick and fast over YouTube.
Okay, cool.
So, are you ready?
Mm-hmm.
So a couple of them relate to, as a female director, how do you think your gender has affected the way you've made your way in the industry?
How do I think what has?
Being a female director.
Oh. So without sounding like I'm complaining or making excuses, of course it has made a difference. It's made a huge difference. I do believe that there are opportunities that would have come my way if I wasn't a woman, particularly a few years ago. And, you know, and I've had to deal with like handsy men and stuff like that. Like, and that's been gross, but that was a few years ago. I would say that what's been, for me personally, what's been worse than being a woman is being a woman of a certain age, and the age isn't 25. So coming into my own and being so-called emerging at my age has been the biggest challenge that I've faced, because because people don't think you can be emerging after a certain age. They want to know what's wrong with you that you didn't emerge earlier, or they just don't even have schemes for people, you know, over 35 or whatever. And there's no whatever the word is. Anyway, there's no regard for the fact that, you know, I had kids to raise, and that's the choice that I made, and it was the right choice for me. But yeah, kind of screwed my career for later, but you know, I'm fine with that because it was the right choice for me. But it is too bad, and I see it happening to a lot of women of a certain age. So
Fair enough. Okay. I think it's great, you know, that it's important that you have these conversations and say what's out there, because a lot of stuff is restricted specifically to emerging, which is automatically associated with younger people.
exactly.
Not rightly so, really.
Yeah.
But linking on to that then, Do you have any directors or other films that particularly inspire you at the moment when you're working?
I love Suzanne Bier. I wish she would let me shadow her. You hear that, Suzanne Bier? I think she's wonderful because she understands the importance of character better than anyone I've ever seen. So I guess she's my favorite. There's a lot of directors I love, but I'll watch everything she's ever made.
So any recommendations specifically that people should go watch?
Yeah, I would watch the one with Jamie Lannister in it. A Second Chance. Second Chance. And you know, it didn't get like a big splash out or anything, but boy, it's a really good solid film. And what was really interesting to me in that film was the way the way the characters did really small things almost in the background that informed so much about them. And they weren't written into the script, but she found them. I was actually at a Q&A for that film and I asked her that question. So how do you do that? And she said, yeah, it wasn't written in the script, but it is something I think about all the time. Like it's that whole idea of every frame counts. Like Edgar Wright is another director who I really admire, who's totally different from Suzanne Bier, obviously, but like who doesn't love Edgar Wright anyways? But he's another one where every frame counts in a different way than Suzanne Bier. But boy, watch anything he's ever done and you're just like, oh yeah, that one, that look what's happening like everywhere. So you always have something to think about, right? And something coming at you. And I think that's cool and that's great directing.
No. You'll be pleased to know that your drone pilots are watching.
Oh, thanks, guys.
Bad Wolf Horizon, and they're actually asking, you know, how has the virus affected post-production of the sport?
Well, it has affected it has definitely slowed post down. So we've already had our dates to grade moved once, I think, maybe twice, I can't remember, but it's fine. I mean, I guess the biggest thing is there were 6 Alexa Challenge winners, winning films, and we were all scheduled to screen at the View at Leicester Square on April 30th. Well, that's not going to happen on April 30th, obviously. And you know, 3 of the films didn't even get made. So Directors UK and Ari have to, you know, they're going to figure out and tell me later when the screening will be, and I don't know what's going to happen with the other 3 films, and I don't know if that will affect the screenings or not. They have said, don't worry, we guarantee there will be a screening, and that's all that matters to me. But it's also, so they've allowed us to push our delivery dates to them, and our post house on site has, you know, graciously not chucked us out. They've said, you know, of course we're doing it. Let's just figure out the best time. But right now, you know, I mean, one thing that's good is my editor is working from home. So, you know, thank God we're in the age of sending things through cyberspace. So she's working, and she was able to send all the rushes to me, you know, by however she did it, WeTransfer or something. And so we're able to communicate. It's slower, of course, but it's moving.
Also, where you can expect it in the not too distant future then.
Yes, I mean, currently we're on track to deliver at the end of April. Who knows? Anything can happen with this virus, but.
Yeah, well, there you go. Any of the crew watching, that's your, it'll be out soon. For anyone in the public watching who wants to see that. Another question following on from earlier. What would you say to help young girls who want to get into such a male-dominated industry?
I think the first thing I would say is don't let anyone tell you you have to act like a man. Like, be a girl, if you know, if that's what you want to be. If you want to cry on set, cry. I mean, honestly, we shot a scene for this film, for the short, and the actors were so good, Tallulah and Brendan, and that I cried. Like they made me, I'm watching the monitor and I cried. And then we did it again and I cried again, twice in a row. And you know, I did think later, oh, would a man have done that? Was anyone judging me? You know, and then I just thought, oh, I don't care. Like they moved me, right? So, and I also remember a male director who's a good friend giving me advice once about going on to set on a Canadian television, a popular Canadian drama, TV drama. And he said, you know, if you like, you should, he basically was encouraging me to put my name forward for this. And then he said, and if you get it, you know, here's what you have to do. And basically he told me like, I have to just like keep my mouth shut and let the men tell me what to do, because otherwise the crew will turn on me. And I thought, well, no, I don't want to do that. Why would I want to do that? Like, how is that fun? That's not fun at all. So, and I would say that for any young woman and any young man, for anyone. It's like, you know, this is a business where when you make something, you, especially if you're a creator, a writer or a director, you're on that project for a long, long time. So you're like basically in bed with your co-creators for a long time, right? So don't work with jerks, and don't think you have to work with jerks, because you don't. You don't. There's a lot of good people and there's a lot of jerks. So don't work with the jerks. Like, work with people who value you. And it's true that not everyone has money. Many projects are done with no budget, as you know, or a very low budget, and people can't offer you much. But if they're not going to offer you much in terms of money, make sure that they're offering you enormous respect, first of all, that they're treating you like you belong and like they're glad that you're there and that you're a collaborator. Because at the end of the day, we are all collaborating on this, on everything. So that's not very practical advice, I know, sorry. But if you're a young woman also, like, now is your time, man. Like, there's so many schemes for young women. I wish I was a young woman right now. I mean, who doesn't, right? But anyway, there's so many schemes, and I would say go after every single one of them. Like, apply for everything. That's my advice.
Thank you very much. Hopefully that is really useful to people watching this live, and hopefully recorded as well on YouTube. So the advice will be there forever now.
Oh my God.
Okay, another question for you, sort of more practical filmmaking terms. When you're actually on set, how do you go about making those creative decisions as a director?
Well, you've made most of your creative decisions long before you get to set, I hope. I mean, prep is everything, right? So spend so much time in prep. Think about every shot, think about the intent of every shot and the intent of every scene way before you get there. I would say, and it's not always possible because low budgets and this and that, but I would say, like, you know, location is really important, and location will often inform your choices in terms of what shots you're going to take and how you're going to move your actors and stuff like that. So I make my creative decisions by, first of all, getting to know my locations really, really well. And I often act as my own location scout because I used to do that, and I love it. It's like the second best job in the world. So so I'll go and I'll walk through. But the thing the thing that you have to really know creatively is your intent with the scene and with the shot. And the intent can't be merely a visual one. You have to understand the intent for the story, and the intent emotionally for the character, right? And that's what should inform, not like never go for, well, I've got this cool camera, so I'll do this cool shot. Like, it should never, never, never be about that, in my humble opinion. So and work all that out ahead of time. So, and then go through it with your DOP. And then when you get there, half of it's going to change anyway. And that's okay. You need to know that half of it's going to change, and you need to be ready for that and accepting of that, because all kinds of things happen on the day, like the weather changes, or someone's dog runs down and won't go away, or or your actors have a different idea than you do about something, and maybe you've rehearsed them and everything, and everyone was on the same page at rehearsal, but they get in the moment and they're like, actually, blah blah blah. And I think it's always important to remember, to get back to collaboration, right? That you're collaborating with these people. So don't be so stuck in your own head, on your own ideas, that you don't listen to collaboration that might make it better. At the end of the day, it's your vision, and everyone is there to serve your vision. But sometimes they can help you get to your vision in a way that you didn't think of. So be ready for that. It being your vision doesn't mean that every single idea has to be exactly the way you thought of it. It's your overall vision. I hope that helps. I don't do well with brevity, do I?
I certainly think it's all, all the advice that you're giving to people, all the ideas is really good. Hope people can really take it on board and, help them with their projects or any sort of thing that they're trying to do with other people in future. I think we've got time for one more question. What's next? So are you solely focused on Island West, or are there other things in the background as well?
Oh, there are other things in the background. I'm happy that you asked that, actually. I have two other things in the background. I won't talk about Island West anymore because I already did. But I've also written a script called Starfighter Baby. And that's coming along nicely. It was shortlisted for the Sundance Screenwriter Lab this year. And I'm currently digging back into that in my downtime. And Starfighter Baby is, it's about, so I grew up on NATO Air Force bases, and my father flew this plane called the Starfighter that's fabulous and sort of the airplane of my childhood. And it's a story about what it was like to be a kid on an Air Force base in Germany when your dad's flying this jet. And it's not just about that. It's about my mom and what a hero she was and continues to be. And it's a real woman's story in a testosterone fueled world, basically. So that's Starfighter Baby. And I'm doing a documentary also that I got some financing for out of Canada. And it's about the condition of being rootless because of various factors in your life. And one of them for me is obviously growing up on Air Force bases and moving a lot. And, for me, home is an Air Force base and always will be. Any Air Force base will do, they all look the same. And I know where I belong. But there's like a lot of people like me who are kind of have this feeling of rootlessness because of how they grew up. And the doc is about that. And it also incorporates the rootlessness of being the descendant of a British home child, which is something you guys may or may not have heard of, but they had this child migration scheme, or, the beginning of the 20th century, and they sent a lot of kids over to Canada, mostly into indentured servitude, and they were told to say they were orphans and not say where they were from. And my grandfather was one of them. So there's just sort of this whole chunk of you that's missing. And there's a lot of people in that situation also. So the stock rootless kinds of puts those, I am the perfect storm of rootlessness. So it's exploring that. It's still very early days, which is why I can't, my brevity on that one really sucks. But anyway, those are my 2 projects other than Island West.
That all sounds very exciting. So hopefully we'll see those in the, again, not too distant future.
Yes.
Now, I know, Caroline, there's one thing, some B-roll that you're looking for the current project. I don't know if you want to ask the world if they could help at all with that.
Are you talking about the airfield?
Yeah, I'm talking about the airfield, yes.
Okay, so yes, I am. Thank you, Henry.
Okay.
For the current project for On Island West, we need something called B-roll, which you guys who I'm speaking to will know what that is. Little shots without actors in them. And there was a shot that I really had my heart set on, and we could not get permission in the time allotted to go and get that shot. And it was of those rusty old airplane graveyard in Cornwall on the Lizard. It's called Predanic Airfield. And I am putting out a call to the universe, asking if anyone might have some footage shot in there. And if so, please get in touch with me or Henry, because I would love to get my mitts on it to incorporate into this film. Rusty old airplanes.
Wonderful. Well, hopefully someone out there can help with that. But Caroline, despite all the issues we had, we've come to the end. I know it's a sad time.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for giving your time today and sharing all that wonderful advice, those ideas, and all the projects you're working on. Anyone watching who hasn't, you can follow Caroline on Instagram as End Zone Films. And they'll see lots of stuff about her upcoming project. I think there's also a few dog pictures. So for dog fans.
Hey, Waggo, come here.
Oh, we might get in the dog.
Waggo, I forgot. I promised to put Waggo on. End Zone was my golden retriever. He's now crossed the Rainbow Bridge, as we say when we're being soppy. But this is Waggo. Hello there. Yeah, I'm a big dog fan as well as a writer. So anyway, yeah.
Well, Caroline, thank you so much. Thank you everyone for tuning in. We're back next week with another live stream from another director, and we'll be announcing that one shortly. So thank you, everyone. Everyone stay safe out there, and we'll see you soon.
Wash your hands. Thanks, people.